Okay, good. All right, we're all set, ready to go. It's good to see everyone. Thanks for coming out. For those who will be watching this on the replay. All right. So anyhow, tonight we're going to be continuing on talking about news. We're going to be talking about some things concerning the Book of Revelation, Book of Enoch, and hopefully this will help fill in some of the things that's happening right now in society and help you guys understand it. Without any further ado, let's get right into some of our things that we have been discussing. One of the things I want to talk about, obviously, Flynn. Flynn, we know that has been exonerated. And it's still amazing to me when we look at what's going on right now in society that people out there still believe that it's a possibility that um, he did something wrong. But yet you can clearly see he did. And this is what we're going to be talking about tonight, as far as everything that's happening with the conditioning of our mind, as far as our inability to be able to make good decisions on our own and be able to think for ourselves and research for ourselves. We have a real serious problem right now in this country, and not only in this country, but around the world. So let me continue. Let's get on right now. I see we have two people. Do me a favor as you guys are coming in, or if you're watching this video on a replay, do me a favor, give me a big like right there. That helps YouTube to know that people are interested in this, and it will also attract other people to watch the video. I appreciate it. Hey, Pizza the Hut, how's everything going? Good to see you, my friend. All right, so we're going to be talking about tonight nanodust, nanotechnology. Um, Also, we're going to be looking at a few other things as far as some uh, particular type of oaths and things like that. And I know last week we kind of left you guys on somewhat of a cliffhanger. Sorry we're a little bit late tonight. Also, I was kind of busy earlier, and I just couldn't make it at 10 o'clock. I wouldn't have been able to make it. So I know some people, they couldn't make it out tonight because it's a little bit past their bedtime for people back east. But anyway, I talked about some things as far as praying for these individuals, and the answer to that question is no, you can't. There are people right now that are walking the earth right now, as far as the difference between people that are made in the image of God, as far as people that have accepted Jesus or that haven't accepted Jesus yet, but they do qualify to receive salvation. Are different from those that are like you've read the story in the Bible of David and Goliath. Well, Goliath would be a Nephilim offspring. They're part angelic and meaning fallen watcher, and they're part human. And they were condemned and could never receive salvation. Now, the offspring of those particular individuals, as far as I talked about, as far as those 13 bloodlines, if you notice something about them, and maybe we'll get into it today, if not, definitely next week, we will be reading it, where it talks about in the book of Enoch, it says, when he's talking about the watchers and their offspring, he says, they only talks about part of them only destroying, they're only essentially just eating up everything, but yet they're never satisfied. Does that sound like something that we're dealing with today with these particular individuals? They receive billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars, these big, powerful bank families, but yet they're never satisfied. And there's Lord knows, there's a host of many other things I'm going to be getting into when we get into that stuff. And one of the things that we're going to know about that is that we'll learn is that these particular entities, these families, and what they're connected to, the technology that they're connected to. So let's see if I can pull it up real quick here. And if I can share, hopefully I do this right here. Let's see here. And you know something? I am not going to mess around with it. I'm just going to, oh, let me see something here. Looks like I got to hit this. Don't worry about it. I'm just not going to do it tonight. Next week, I'll go ahead and do that. Well, I guess I could do it. Share the screen. Let's see if I do it right this time. Let me know if you guys, nope, that's not right. Share screen. And nope, I'm not going to do it. Don't worry about it. Anyway, I'll do that next week there. I'm going to show you guys as far as technology of these particular groups of individuals, as far as some things that a lot of us have already seen, like the TR3B. But those are some of the things that they use as an alluring attraction to attract people into their way of thinking, and they use those tools to see if they can get people to believe that they're going to be a part of that, but they will never be a part of. And that's one of the things that we're going to get into tonight, as far as their oaths are concerned. Let me open this up. And one of the things that you're going to learn here tonight through this oath, I read a bit of this, a teeny bit of this, in one other video I did before, but I never went. I'm going to read as much, a little bit more of this tonight, because I want you guys to see their thinking. And once you see their thinking, then you're going to understand what I'm saying. As far as these are those particular individuals whose names were never written in the Lamb's Book of Life before the foundation of the world. These particular individuals never could receive salvation. You understand me? So let me see here. Let's get right into this. Okay, it says, here we go. It says, we will keep their lifespan short and their minds weak while pretending to do the opposite. We will use our knowledge of science and technology in subtle ways, so they will never see what is happening. We will use soft metals, aging accelerators, and sedatives in their food and water, also in the air. They will be blanketed by poisons everywhere they turn. The soft metals will cause them to lose their minds. We will promise to find a cure from our many fronts, yet we will feed them more poisons. The poisons will be absorbed through their skin and mouths. They will destroy their minds and reproductive systems. From all this, their children will be born, obviously lifeless, and we will conceal this information. The particular things that they will be that will be hidden in everything that surrounds them, in what they drink, eat, breathe, and wear. We must be ingenious in dispensing the poisons, for they can see far. We will teach them that these particular things are good for them. With fun images and musical tones, those they look up to will help. We will enlist them to push their particular things they want to put in the foods, like the basketball shots they want to put inside of you. They will see our products being used in film and will grow accustomed to them. Let me go a little bit further down right here where he says about the families. Our families will never mix with theirs. Our blood must be pure also, for it is the way. We will make them hurt each other when it suits us. We will keep them separated from the oneness through dogma and religion. We will control all aspects of their lives and tell them what to think and how. We will guide them kindly and gently, letting them think they are guiding themselves. We will format animosity between them through our factions. When a light shall shine among them, we shall extinguish it by ridicule or death, whichever suits us best. We will make them rip each other's hearts out apart and remove and hurt each other, their children. We will accomplish this by using hate as our ally, anger as our friend. The hate will blind them totally, and never shall they see that from their conflicts we emerge as their rulers. They will be busy hurting one another. They will bathe in their own blood and be killed, and they shall also hurt their neighbors for as long as they see fit. We will benefit greatly from this. And it goes on and on and on and on and on about this. And one of the horrible things about this, it just really shows you their thinking. And what people have to come to understand about these people, that these particular individuals, as I call them, that they're not interested in salvation. It's not within them to be interested in salvation, because they are not of the similitude of God. They are basically a bad experiment, okay, which is found in Genesis chapter 6. They are the offspring of the particular watchers that did that to women, that went in and had these relationships and created hybrids. Now I'm going to go to something else right over here. In Revelation chapter number 9, it says this about people that want to put these particular microchips and things like that. And many people believe, and I'm one of those that believe, this is what's eventually going to happen to mankind that follow after these people. That is going to be an altering of their DNA. And it says right over here, it says in verse number 6 in Revelation chapter 9, it says, in those days, men will seek death and will not find it. They will desire to die, and death will flee from them. So mankind has been trying to beat death, but the way he's going about trying to beat death, God is going to finally turn him over to it. He's going to turn them over to the gods of that particular ideology of what they're following. And what essentially is going to happen is, see, God, one thing what God does, he does allow death to come on people because in the process of that, when you have received the Lord, you now have the opportunity to come back into the original mindset that God had for you, spirit, soul, and body. But see, what man is trying to do is he's trying to establish eternal life without the hands of God. So what God's going to do is he's going to be turned over to eternity, or an eternal, not immortality, but an eternal state, and an eternal state of death. During that time, mankind's going to be turned over to, and essentially they've lost their birthright. You understand me? So just like it says over in the book of Proverbs chapter 4, there's an interesting verse over there that says that they eat the bread of wickedness and they eat the bread of wickedness and they drink the wine of violence. It talks about them for us in that chapter right there. And it talks about for us as believers that will come onto the day of perfection. But see, these particular guys that what I'm talking about right now, these dudes that are really starting all that's been causing all this trouble within the world, that's who these particular people are. And they cannot, and they're not interested in being saved. So let me go from there, which is going to lead me into the article I want to talk about tonight. And it's an interesting article. It's going to be talking about nanotechnology right here. I'm going to go on and it says, nanochips and smart dust, dangerous new face of human microchipping agenda. Nanochips and smart dust are the new technological means for the advancement of the human microchipping agenda. Due to their incredibly tiny size, both nanochips and smart dust have the capacity to infiltrate the human body, become lodged within, and begin to set up a synthetic network on the inside, which can be remotely controlled from the outside. Okay, needless to say, this has grave freedom, privacy, and health implications because it means the NWO would be moving from controlling the outside world, environment, society to controlling the inside, your mind, your body, whatnot. There, the very in there after your intellect, after your ability, your God-given birthright. That's essentially that's just me speaking what they're after. This article explores what the advent of nanochips and smart dust could mean for you. Okay, humanity's history is filled with examples of society where the people were sharply divided into two categories: rulers and slaves. In the distant past, the slaves have usually been kept in place because the rulers have had to and control over the resources such as money, food, water, weapons, or other necessities of life, control of the environment. In our more recent history, control was implemented not only by monopolizing resources, but also via propaganda control of the mind. So one of the things I want to get across to you guys have all read the story in the book of Exodus when God was freeing the people of God from Egypt. One of the reasons why God got so angry at the children of Israel was that the ruling family of that particular time, that particular ruling family, was essentially one of those bloodlines that basically went all the way back. Okay, that's why they were worshipers of the gods or the Nephilims and whatnot there, and those were ruling class. If you ever see their skulls, they had those long, elongated skulls and whatnot there. When you see some of the pictures of them, and they were basically part human, part fallen angel. And one of the things that got the people of God in trouble during that time was that their hearts were still over there and being ran and controlled by these particular overlords that wanted to keep them in a state of slavery. Now, if you notice, it's interesting when they were leaving out, they were saying, "Oh, well, we'll just go back where they would just eat their onions, the little bitty things that they would give them." They were willing to give up their freedom. They were willing to give up their whole state of being just for a few handouts. See, people you guys have to understand is that freedom, oh freedom, is an absolute cost in order to keep it. And those one of the things that the enemy's been after is to absolutely destroy your freedom. He's absolutely to take away your ability, your will to make decisions for yourself. And see, that's what the smart does. I'm going to get into this again next week, but that's what the smart does, this nanotechnology, all of these things like that, what it's going to be doing. That nanotechnology, whatnot there, is to eventually control people. And I'm hearing people in certain states around that are, because of this little thing that we're dealing with right now, I got to say it like that, they're wanting this basketball shot, this nanotechnology put inside of it. They like their basketballs and they want that little basketball shot put inside of them. They want that. And they're fearful. Their minds have been so controlled because they have never exercised. Notice I said exercise, just like you have to exercise in order to keep your muscles strong. They've never exercised their will to really research things and to impart what's necessary for them and to be able to discern a lie. They cannot discern a lie. They don't really have a real strong relationship with God. So therefore, they'll just go for anything, hook, line, and sinker. They'll just accept it and receive it with no problem. It talks about over here. Read this real fast here over in Revelation chapter 17. You guys have heard me read this before, and it says, and it goes, verse number 13 says, "These are of one mind, and they will give their power and authority to the beast. These will make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb will overcome them, for he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and those who are with him are called, chosen, and faithful." Okay? But these other individuals that he's talking about, though, they're of one mind. And it says before that, far as the 10 kings, that's what they wanted to do. They wanted to split the world up into 10 major regions and whatnot there. It says, verse number 12, it says, "The 10 horns which you saw are the 10 kings or 10 regions who have received no kingdom as yet, but they receive authority for 1 hour as kings and with the beast." So see, the beast, they're going to give their authority over to. And the people that are under those particular kings and whatnot, they're under those regions, will just, without any question, are just going to hand their authority over. And see, this is what God's going to be doing during that time. He's just going to allow people to go ahead, hand their authority over, because mankind refused to pursue truth in the eyes of God and to unite with God and to receive Jesus, who is the truth. Okay? But they would receive a lie in a second. As it's interesting, over the last few weeks, I have been showing people all sorts of stuff where these people, I show things to people where they have contradicted themselves over these crises we've been in the last few weeks, and yet people will still fight you to keep those particular thought processes that have been given to them from their overlords. It's real sad, the state that we're in right now. So with that being said, I am just, it's sad. It's really sad that people just can't think anymore for themselves. So, I'm going to leave it open a little bit longer. You guys have any questions, any things like that? And if so, I will answer. I'll see if I can answer them. If not, I'm going to go ahead and shut this down. Do me a favor if you're coming in. Please give me a like and a comment and a subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet. That would really be appreciative. Like I said, I'm going to be doing this on Friday nights, but I'll be starting an hour earlier than I did tonight. Just got caught up a lot of things going on. So anyhow, it looks like there's no questions. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and close it out. If you haven't received Jesus, I would encourage you to receive Jesus in your heart and to receive the sacrifice that he did for you at Calvary. All you have to do is just ask the Lord, say, God, Lord Jesus, I believe you died for me. Come into my heart. Save me from my sins. If you say that and you mean that and that you want him to be your Lord, Lord means that you want him to give you your directions and you want to obey his directions. If that is your mentality and you pray that, then you will be saved from your sins. Without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and close it out right there. Thank you so much for coming in. I hope to see you guys next week. And I may come back on tomorrow night and do the next parts of this episode number 3. I'm going to be doing this every Friday and some Saturdays. Thank you so much. God bless you. And I will see you next time. Goodbye.